Hello and welcome to Recruiting in Hospitality from Catrina.com. As ever, I'm Lancelot Narayan, and in each program we discuss matters affecting you, employers. So it's recruitment, development, retention, and other matters that affect you and your wonderful teams. Today we're talking about the work of Springboard. And all the important work that they do. We have been at Catrina.com, we've been supporters of Springboard since time immemorial, to put it that way. Not just Springboard, but also their Future Chef competition, which I personally am a huge fan of. It's a great way of introducing young people to the world of hospitality, and it's always an exciting competition. And we're always there at the final. We're going to be talking about the Springboard Ambassador program today as well. Who better to speak to than an ambassador, I suppose. And I'm very lucky to have with me today. Well, you'll find out all about her. She is, now let me get this straight. She is the Nerdy Hotelier.
Yep.
We're going to find out all about that. She's the leisure sales manager at Mandarin Oriental. I want you to say a big hello to Catrina Pengelley. Hello, Catrina.
Hi, how are you doing today, Lance?
Not bad, thank you. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Thanks for spending the time with me. This is fantastic. I'm really excited about this conversation we're going to have today. Let's get straight into it. Can you tell us a bit about your hospitality background? Tell us your origin story,
Yeah.
and how you finally became involved with Springboard.
Yeah, of course. Well, how much time do we have? I've only been in the industry 12 years, and I say only because I know that there's hospitality professionals that have been out there for quite some time. But I do feel like I'm a little bit seasoned now at 12 years. And I have done a lot of different roles in hospitality. I originally put my foot in the door with hospitality as I was an aspiring chef out of senior school. So I really was just had a huge love for food. Even actually from when I was a kid, my friend released a cookbook, and I was actually interviewed by the local newspaper when I was 8 years old on how to make your best spaghetti. So I always had some kind of,
Local
yeah.
newspaper. Where is this? Where are you actually
Oh,
from?
sorry. Excellent start. So I am from Vancouver, Canada, originally. As you can hear by my accent, I am not a native Brit, but I've been in.
A beautiful city. I've been there.
Oh, honestly, it's such a stunning, amazing city. The true Canadian postcard is what I tell people what it is. If you want the mountains, if you want the ocean, the bears, the whales, everything that comes with it, the west side of Canada is where to find it. No offense to the rest of the country. I'm Canadian, I have to say that.
Yes.
But yeah, so Vancouver, Canada. I moved to England about 4.5 years ago, but I'll get there eventually.
Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to be a chef. I really aspired to work in the culinary industry. My senior school actually had a culinary arts program, where in your final year, it's a bit different how they structure it in Canada versus the UK. But think of my final year in school. I was actually able to spend more than half my time in the culinary kitchen at my school, preparing meals for the students. So we did the cafeteria, but we also did external catering as well. So really got some good experience into working in hospitality. From there, I actually started working in a restaurant when I first started off out of high school. And I don't get me wrong, I loved it. Being a line cook, that pressure of having so many tickets coming in, the food going out, everything. I loved it so much. I always kept getting in so much trouble from my chef because I was always the one with the dirtiest whites at the end of the night. And I was like, but I just had so much fun and I was throwing stuff around and, we got it all done and it was great. But I was notorious for being the dirtiest out of the kitchen at the end of the night. But as much as I loved it, I really loved it. I also kind of miss the interaction with people. Being in the kitchen, you send the food out and you kind of wanted to follow the food and be like, how was it? Tell me about your experience. What did you like? What could I improve? So even though I still knew I wanted to be a chef, I decided that I wanted to diversify my experience and get into the front of house as well. So I did waitressing, bartending, expediting, as well as floor management for a while. And after doing that, I thought, you know what, as well as being a chef, because I love being able to talk to people, I think it was also really important for me at the time to say, let's not limit myself to just working in the kitchen. What could I do with a broader range, owning my own restaurant maybe, or more restaurant management than just chefing?
Sure.
And so I ended up going to hospitality school, a diploma program at a local college, which is not like college here. It's much more like university. We just call it college for whatever reason. And I started doing that program. And what was really cool, it was a hospitality management program, but it specialized half on restaurant operations and half on hotel operations. Which was really interesting. And I don't remember when it was. There was one specific morning where I just woke up, and I was like, I'm going to be a hotelier. And everyone was like, oh, what about being a chef? I'm like, screw that. We're going to be a hotelier now. And I don't know where it was or what specific moment. People ask me that a lot, and I don't know what it was that flipped me. But there was a lot of stuff that I was learning when learning about hotels that I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Or, oh, you would never know that if you didn't work in hotels. And it slowly just kind of creeped my interest into that side of the industry.
Right. Something must
Um,
have excited you about it.
there was obviously something. But
Yeah, that's how it usually gets me. Something triggers it and
yeah.
sets you on another path.
And it really did. And it completely kind of changed my direction. It wasn't that I had completely blocked food and beverage out of the path, but it was like, you know what, let's see where this goes. So I started working front desk at a local hotel in Vancouver. Brits love this. It was a historic hotel in Vancouver. So, of course, built in 1986. Uh, so,
For
at the
those of you who
time,
don't know Vancouver, that's very funny.
it is quite old, like for Vancouver, for our structures and our infrastructure. Vancouver, the city, is very much tall glass buildings. We don't necessarily have a lot of heritage. Everything that's old gets torn down and rebuilt. So actually, a hotel built for Expo 86 and 1986 is actually quite old. So I worked at the historic hotel in Vancouver, which now coming to England has definitely blown my mind in what historic actually means. But at the time, really, really cool. And I loved it. I loved working front desk, being that person that could make, that slight thing that was so easy for me to do, but that would make an absolute huge difference to someone's stay. For example, I got a phone call from a mom once that said, listen, it's my daughter's 10th birthday, and all she has wanted for her entire life is to be a princess. And I said, okay. And she said, so I've put her to work all morning like Cinderella. And I was like, you did not. And she said, yes, I did. But the trick is, she doesn't know that there's a limo coming with her grandma dressed up as a fairy godmother and a beautiful dress and shoes. And she's going to spend one night at your hotel tonight. And I was hoping that we could address her as princess when she arrives. And I was like, yes, absolutely. First of all, love that you've made your daughter do chores all morning. That
Uh,
sounds amazing. Great parenting right there. And then, so she was going to have this amazing experience. So I rallied everybody up and I got her approximate arrival time. And when the limo pulled up, I had all the staff rode down the front door, and every single one of us bowed or knelt or curtsied to Princess Cadence as she walked in the door. And the poor girl was in tears. How did you know that today was the day I was going to become a princess? And I said,
that's
Princess
amazing.
Cadence, we have been waiting for your arrival your whole life. And, her mom and her, like, they had such an amazing time. And it took 5 minutes of my time to provide that experience for this one girl. And so that's really what kind of solidified, even that day. I'll still remember, that was like 10 years ago. I'll still remember it, for the rest of my life, is that special moment that I provided someone. And that really kind of solidified my journey in hotels, which is
That's an incredible
amazing.
story.
Yeah, it's really, as I said, it was such a simple thing that I had to do, but it really made such a memory for that one person. So as I said, I knew that I wanted to continue with the journey. So I went to a different university to complete my bachelor's degree in international hotel management. From there, I started working with Fairmont Hotels and Resorts in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. Beautiful place for anyone, again, west side of Canada, that wants to experience that true Canadian postcard. And I worked there for a year and a half in their leadership development program, doing all food and beverage management. And my final, 7 months there was in events, as an event manager. And again, loved it. But those long hours that we do, the running around on your feet, for those that have been an event manager will know, you come out of the back, you're covered in dishwater and food, and you're sweaty and you're hot and you're a mess. And I would walk out, and I saw at this one event, I saw the sales team mingling in the room with the clients with their glass of wine and their nice dress. And I was like, I want that job. I like that one. That looks nice. That looks nice. So when I finished my year and a half at that Fairmont property, I had the opportunity to either stay with Fairmont or do something different. And at the time, my fiance and I had been discussing potentially moving somewhere else in the world. Only speaking English, and with Trump in power in the US, we put a big X over that and defaulted onto England, which actually ended up being really amazing, as he actually has dual citizenship because his family is from the UK. And I did have some amazing opportunities after I got here. So when I got here, I started my journey in sales. So as many of you know, sometimes you need to take a step down to start a new path. So I went from management and started off again as a coordinator in a sales team with a wonderful company called GP Associates, who looks after sales and marketing for multiple hotel companies. And I was there for a year and a half, due to be promoted to sales manager in April 2020. But as I'm sure you can all imagine where that direction's going, rather than a promotion, unfortunately, I was made redundant instead after some time on furlough. But I didn't let it get me down. That's actually where the Nerdy Hotelier started out. There was no real opportunities for hotel sales management positions at the beginning of the pandemic. So I set up as a freelancer, and I started doing marketing and PR and virtual events and really anything that I could get my hands on to learn something new. But through that, I didn't want to lose my roots in hospitality. And that's where I came up with the Nerdy Hotelier, which at the time was just a blog where I expressed how nerdy and how excited I could get about hospitality. I did one of my favorite blogs actually is about hotel staircases, my favorite 12 hotel staircases in the world. And I will say, I did a lot of research and I looked at a lot of staircases, but I came up with so I didn't rank them in order. They're in a random order. They're just my 12 favorites.
Okay.
And I have to think, because I don't want to be too, because actually, funny enough, one of them, now that I'm with Mandarin Oriental, one of them is a Mandarin Oriental staircase in Bangkok, I believe. So I can't say that one because now I work with Mandarin. But there's this really cool one. I believe the hotel is called the St. James. It's just outside of Paris. But it's built on what used to be the first landing strip for like the very first air balloons that took off from France. And their back staircase, not their main staircase, but their back staircase is actually all decorated to look like these air balloons are kind of like floating down the staircase. And it's really a huge tie to its history of being the first French strip of land that allowed takeoff and landing of air balloons. And just so cool, this the type of stuff that I get nerdy about. So now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, and I do now have a very wonderful job with Mandarin Oriental that I've been doing for just over 5 months now. I still want the Nerdy Hotelier to be there. I unfortunately don't have a lot of time to write a lot of blogs, but it's more just my personal brand now. It's who I am. I am a nerdy hotelier, and I love expressing my love and my passion and my nerdiness for all things hotels, from wallpapers to the bathroom sink, as I tell people. All those little intricate details about every hotel being so different and so unique gets me really excited.
And it comes across. It really does. It
Yeah.
really does. Your enthusiasm for it is fantastic. So, how did you get involved with Springboard?
Yeah, excellent question. So actually, while I was right after I moved here, when I was at GP Associates, I was working with a lovely girl who used to work with the Savoy, and I was telling her that I wanted to be more involved with the industry. I had always tried to be involved, and I always wanted to be more involved with the industry. And she had let me know that she had actually done a trek while she was at the Savoy with Springboard to raise money for the charity. And I said, oh, like, that's amazing. I don't know if I could go out on like a whole month trek, but do they do other types of opportunities? And she said, oh my gosh, yes, you can do so many different volunteering. You can become an ambassador. And I said, ooh, an ambassador, what's that? Tell me more about it. And that's really, within weeks of her telling me about it and introducing me to someone at Springboard, I knew that I wanted to be involved. And so I did training to become part of their ambassador program, which was in the spring of 2019 when I did my training.
Fantastic, fabulous. Oh, it's great that you met the right people and got connected. That's
Absolutely.
honestly that's great that that happened. So, what as a Springboard ambassador, how does it work? How does it work? Tell us about your role as an ambassador. How does that help other people in the industry?
Yeah, of course. Well, me specifically, I've done quite a few different things at a Springboard Ambassador. And honestly, I was a little worried at first because when I was doing my training, everyone else that was doing the training with me was from HR teams or talent acquisition teams. And, their main focus was to become an ambassador of Springboard to promote working in the hospitality industry, but also to share with these students and future potential industry folk the opportunities that they had at their hotels. And I was in a very small team when I was at GP Associates, and we didn't really have very many opportunities to offer. So I was actually a bit nervous that I wouldn't be able to properly, promote the industry and the opportunities that I had available. So instead, I tried to find different spaces that I could just support with Springboard. I'm really loud, as you can probably tell.
No, no.
I have been told by a very fantastic industry colleague that I'm not loud, I'm vivacious. And so because I
I'm
am so,
stealing that. I'm
yeah,
stealing that.
I'm not loud, I'm vivacious. And because I'm so vivacious, I was able to really, find ways to support through the events that Springboard does. Of course, not during the pandemic, as these in-person events haven't been on, but pre-pandemic, with the Springboard Christmas carols, I was selling raffle tickets. Come one, come all. Now that I have your attention, buy my raffle tickets, please. And then as well, the pantomime that they did every year, I supported with setup and makeup and getting everything going, as well as events like the London Hospitality Festival, where they ran games and different events on and stuff like that. So being a really loud Canadian, it really, really helped kind of support somewhere that they didn't really have support for from the ambassadors. They had a few volunteers here and there, but most of their support actually came from their internal teams volunteering their time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're always big supporters of the Christmas panto.
Yes, exactly. I have told so many people how badly I want to be in the next panto. So it better happen.
You've got to be a shoe-in for that.
I'm like, I want to be on that stage talking nonsense so much. So one day I will hopefully beyond the Panta whenever it kicks back up. But you know, in during the pandemic as well, they had other opportunities which I was really excited to learn about because obviously I wasn't able to support in the way that I had been before. And so they actually launched the Digital Hospitality Academy during the pandemic, which the main focus was to provide assistance for those that had been made redundant or were struggling to get back into work in hospitality during the pandemic. They had multiple different things that the Digital Hospitality did, from different trainings to introductions with companies. But I was able to get involved by doing some guest speaking events on personal branding, highlighting yourself online, how to leverage yourself and get past that black and white of your CV, and, you know, really how to showcase yourself while you're up against hundreds of other applicants. And I also supported on CV critiquing as well as mock interviews to help people prepare for those tough questions that they would be dealing with during the pandemic. So lots of things.
Well, that's incredible work. It really is, and you've touched on it right there. But what I was going to ask you is why you think it's important to have ambassadors. And you've touched on it there. Can you go into a bit more details? Because, you know, given the difficult climate for businesses at the moment, I mean, it's industry wide.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to have ambassadors?
Yeah, and you know, I think regardless of the difficulties that the industry is facing right now, I'm not trying to say they're not important, but regardless, we should always have hospitality ambassadors. You know, this is an amazing industry, and you know, for some reason, whatever the reasons are, we have always struggled with staff retention even before the pandemic. You know, I feel that a lot of younger professionals, they see the hard work, they see the long hours, the weekend nights that we've all done, but they end up leaving the industry before they even have a chance to imagine their future and the career that they can build because no one's shown them that future opportunity. You know, they do see these GMs and they see these sales managers and these restaurant owners, but you know, has anyone really stopped and said, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I was you. I was doing this job. I was doing, you know, the hard work. I was doing the long hours in the kitchen. I was waiting tables. I was working front desk, you know, and tell people that, you know, they always say, oh, you have a really cool job, but I didn't just appear here. I didn't just start here. And I think that that's really what the industry is missing, is helping the younger professionals and the people entering the industry bridge that mental gap between I'm a waitress and this is my future potential of working in this industry. You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. There's definitely hard work, long hours, and weekend shifts involved, but they don't last forever. And I think we need more people out there sharing their stories and saying, you know, this is the role I was doing, and here is the potential futures that you could have in the industry. And, you know, we are in a difficult time right now. It is important, and more so than ever, to inspire those that are in the industry. But I also think that we will struggle to continue to grow and develop this industry without supporting and reaching out to that up and coming generation. You know, as you were talking about at the very beginning with the Future Chef program, you know, like some of those future chefs are really young when they enter this competition. And, you know, it really gives them the opportunity to learn about their future potential and the future careers that they could have through a competition like that. And, you know, I think that there's so much potential for us to reach out to students, not, you know, university students or kids that are already doing their A levels. You know, what about those kids that haven't just started deciding what they're going to do?
Mm.
You know, and really showcasing that, yes, it's hard work when you first start, but the opportunities are endless once you have a chance to get in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I never heard it put better. That's absolutely true. Can you give me an example of the kind of impact that your role has had since you become an ambassador?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most recent impact that I could share is working with the Digital Hospitality Academy. Of course, you know, that's really fresh in my mind, and it's, you know, really important right now trying to get so many staff into the industry with the difficulties we are having. You know, and working with these students and young professionals who were so discouraged, you know, they had lost their jobs or they couldn't get into jobs, they were struggling with interviews, and of course, course, we think about it on the other side, the hotelier side or the restaurant side, the teams hiring are also struggling because there's so much demand, and it was really hard to see the discouragement that people had when looking for roles. So for me, being able to help people, support them, become confident, to see their confidence grow as they're learning different, virtual tips and tricks, because not a lot of them have done virtual interviews either, let alone interviews in the first place. So being able to, to help them answer those hard questions, to frame their answers, to think about, what people want to hear, has personally been really rewarding for me. I will say I had a lot of interview prep for my Mandarin interview because I had been helping, over the last year and a half. I probably supported about 50 different individuals with mock interviews, which was really great. So actually, it really helped me with my interviews as well because I had so much practice.
Yeah.
But, also when I heard from Springboard afterwards that person I supported got the job they wanted, or, even if they didn't get the job, they felt so confident. And even though they didn't get it, they were ready for the next one. Those feelings that I had heard that they felt that way made me feel that every minute that I spent with them was so worth it.
Fantastic. That's I mean, you can't ask for more than that, can you?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear. Would you encourage others to join the Spring? I think I know the answer, but would you encourage others to join the Springboard Ambassador program? And if so, how do they go about doing it?
Yeah, excellent question. Quite obviously, my answer is yes. Anyone didn't expect that? You obviously haven't listened to the whole video. But no, I really think that being a Springboard Ambassador has a lot of positives. And I'm not just saying for those that you're going to be working with or those that you're going to be supporting, but for you as an ambassador as well. Not only do you get to provide support and advice to those who need it, but you're also gaining valuable skills for yourself when it comes to presenting, speaking to large groups, networking, career progression. If you need some volunteering even on your CV, just to leverage yourself. There's so many different things that being an ambassador can give back to you, as well as just, feeling really positive. A lot of people say that volunteering is for the person, not for the actual volunteering itself. It's to make yourself feel better. What's wrong with that? It does make me feel really good to be able to, say that I spent an hour of my day today supporting someone finding a job. It does make me feel good, and it does make me feel like I can, walk every day with my head held high because I have really, impacted someone else's day. And I think, it's a role that you can take on at any career level as well. If you're new to the industry and you love it and you just want to share your love for it, I even find that, when I was doing a lot of mock interviews with people, a lot of these people were interviewing for their very first job or one of their very first jobs. Who better to give them advice than the people that are working in those jobs right now, to give them real life advice? Don't get me wrong, it would still be great to do a mock interview with a CEO, but those younger professionals that don't usually think I can be an ambassador and I can help someone, there's actually so much that you can do at that level. And as well at the level of, GMs or CEOs, hoteliers, restaurateurs who, maybe are in more senior management positions in their career and actually have the time, not that any of us ever have time, but, have a little bit more time to be able to dedicate to sharing that time with others and supporting them in their growth. And I think, no matter who we are a people-focused industry. We love to support our guests, so why not support each other? I personally think it's a no-brainer. You should definitely be an ambassador for Springboard and at least for the industry. Shout it on the rooftops.
Catrina, I've got to say, you're a tour de force. You really are.
Thank you.
And it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. You're just so excited about the industry. I mean, I can't think of anyone better to be an ambassador because you embody it. So thank you very much for talking to me today. It's been great. It really, really has been a great conversation. So thank you so much.
No, of course. And I just realized I forgot to answer one of your questions. You said, how do you become an ambassador? I didn't even tell people how to become an ambassador. Oh my gosh. Sorry, everyone. Now I'm fired. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to scrap the whole thing.
The whole thing. We're done. No, but trust me, everyone, it's really easy to become an ambassador, whether you want to reach out to Springboard directly, to caterer.com through this video, or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to learn more before becoming an ambassador. It's really, really easy. And, you know, even if you don't have time to do the training right away, they will gladly take you on as a volunteer to be able to support them in any way that you can. And it's not necessarily a big commitment. You know, I very easily fit it into my day-to-day work, and into my personal life as well. So this is me telling you, you have to do it. Canadian Cat, she's telling you it's done. You have to be an ambassador now.
You've been told.
You've
Go
been
and do
told,
it.
exactly.
Right, exactly. Good, good, good. Thanks again, Catrina. It's been great talking to you.
Absolutely.
I hope you out there, my wonderful audience, have enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. It's been a fantastic chat. If you don't subscribe to Recruiting in Hospitality, what the hell's the matter with you? Just go and do it. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube as well now. You can follow us on Twitter. That's at caterer.com, caterer, DOTCOM. Likewise on Instagram. You can follow us on LinkedIn, and we're also now on Facebook. Am I missing one out? No. No, we're all right. We're all good there. You can follow us all these places, and make sure you join us next time for another brilliant recruiting hospitality from caterer.com. I've been Lancelot Narayan. Thank you for your company. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.